The Fitting by Obscure. The pale unicorn stood at the entrance to her lair, and tapped the ground, beckoning her prey to its ill-begotten fate. Dash was frozen, her muscles locked up in confusion. A drop of sweat inched down from her mane. She was spotted. There would be no escape from this. The pale hoof tapped twice more. This time would not be like last. This time she would fly away and escape. She unfurled her wings and prepared to leap away into the air. The pale pony gave a smile and a knowing look. Rainbow Dash furled her wings. This was what her life was now. With a resigned sigh she entered the creature's lair. She could smell the hot and scented bath that awaited her upstairs. It always started this way, didn't it? Rainbow wondered why they kept doing it.
"Come right this way, darling. We have to get you cleaned up before your fitting,"
Rarity said with a grin, just like she always did. The Pegasus followed, her eyes locked comfortably on her friend's flexing haunches. It always started with a bath. Mechanically getting into the hot water, Dash passively allowed Rarity to rub her down with a curry brush. The brush moved in circles, gently but firmly working the dirt and grime out of the coat of the athletic pony. It felt wonderful, and she loved it. Admitting it wouldn't have been very much like Rainbow Dash, and she didn't feel like being not Rainbow Dash just yet. Her hair was combed and braided, her face and her genitals were sponged. On some of her more frustrating visits, that had been the full extent of the sexual contact. The best young flyer, the indomitable Rainbow Dash, was being remade as a pretty show pony. Rarity looked on with pride. Rainbow blushed, feeling a very complex mix of conflicting emotions. Now was the time. The winged pony trembled in anticipation. The unicorn brought forth 2 clasps. They had been custom-made with rainbow bolts on them. They fit over the primary joint of a wing, and could only fit on such an appendage when it was folded. Once fitted into place, the wing was held closed and immobile. With a sick joy, a terrible, unquenchable fear, Dash put on the clasps. Long ago she had bolted in terror at the first sight of them. Now they filled her darkest fantasies. Pretty and helpless, Rainbow Dash took up her position as a living ponykin, and posed whilst Rarity pinned together a dress out of pieces of fabric on her.
"A pretty dress for a pretty mare. Something soft, something delicate, something—"
The skirt was adjusted, and shortened to a scandalous degree.
"Feminine." "But, Miss Rarity, isn't that too short? I don't want any pony to think I'm easy." "Oh, hush, dear. How easy you are isn't something a skirt can hide."
Rarity purred as she delivered her cutting remark to her fox client.
"Now hold your rump still while I get this hem right."
Dash could feel hot breath on her nether lips. In the mirror she could see that it really was a lovely-looking dress. Rarity was apparently trying to get the skirt to hang naturally at the point where it would be just too short to hide her vagina, while staring into said orifice from about an inch's distance. Dash felt Rarity exhale again. While trying to hide her panting, Dash was stabbed by a pin. This made her wings try to extend in alarm and in preparation to escape, except that the clasps held them closed. Needing to fly and being trapped made her panic. Panicking because Rarity wanted her to made her sexually excited. Having chosen to be in a position where Rarity could do this to her made her hornier than she had ever been with anyone else. Dash stumbled with a moan and she winked hungrily.
"I'm sorry," Rarity lunged forward, mounting her like a stallion, "but we don't serve filly-foolers around here."
Dash squealed helplessly as she was bit. The dress came apart, the pins ripped out, the pieces scattered, the design murdered in its infancy to never be recreated. The Pegasus struggled with herself, forcing herself to submit, to fold up and lay upon the ground beaten before Rarity. Struggled to not rip out the clasps, to throw the attacking unicorn aside and exit the shop like a caged hurricane, like she had done a few times before. struggled to show her fear and speak the next line.
"Please, don't hurt me. I'm too pretty to be a filly fooler."
Her sopping nethers declared her lie.
"Well, you are pretty, if nothing else, my dear. I can think of something you can do to make up for bringing yourself here,"
Rarity whispered cruelly. The unicorn turned around and presented herself, her tail swished to one side. It was not commonly known or even believed, but Dash wasn't actually all that experienced or even keen on eating out mares. In fact, she had never done so until she started her encounters with Rarity. Diving in deep, Dash hungrily sought out the fashionista's hidden clitoris. If she didn't do a good job, Rarity wouldn't even touch her.
"I barely even have to ask, do I? You're one hungry little filly. Taking you on as an apprentice was worthwhile, even if you do have no talent as a designer."
Rarity gasped as Dash found her mark and began to work in earnest.
"Stupid little, filly fooler. This is all you're good for."
Vaginal walls clenched against Dash's muzzle, and fluid was dripping down her neck. Rarity was going to come soon.
"Hide. You'll work under all the gems you want, you little, slut. You're still just—"
Rarity convulsed in orgasm, dropping to her knees with a cry, tears flowing down her cheeks, her voice choked with lust, malice, and pain.
"Gaudy trash."
To be something you're not. Something you could never admit wanting to be. That was the thrill.